The Man in the Window. I grew up in a quiet suburban neighborhood in Ohio. Nothing bad ever happened where I lived, or at least that's what I thought. One winter night, when I was about 15, I was staying up late playing video games in the living room. My parents were asleep upstairs, and the whole house was silent, except for the faint hum of the TV. The blinds on our big front window were open, and outside was just darkness. At some point, I felt this weird, heavy sensation like someone was watching me. I ignored it at first, but then I caught movement out of the corner of my eye. When I looked up, I saw a face pressed against the glass. It was a man. His skin looked pale under the yellow streetlight, his eyes wide open, unblinking. He didn't move, didn't speak. He just stared at me through the window. My blood turned to ice. I froze in my chair, unable to process what I was seeing. After maybe 10 seconds of this terrifying eye contact, I scrambled for the remote and turned the TV off. The room went dark, and when I looked back, he was gone. I ran upstairs, woke my dad, and he rushed outside with a baseball bat. But there was no one in sight. No footprints in the fresh snow, no sound of footsteps fading away, nothing. For weeks afterward, I couldn't sleep without the blinds closed. And even now, years later, I still check the windows at night because I'll never forget that face pressed against the glass, watching me like I was prey.
The forgotten car in the woods. Back when I was in college, my friends and I used to go hiking in the forests around upstate New York. It was supposed to be a fun escape from classes, stress, and city noise. But one trip still haunts me. We were following an old trail when my friend Sam spotted something rusting in the distance. As we got closer, we realized it was an abandoned car. It looked like it had been sitting there for decades, covered in vines, half buried by dirt, glass shattered. Naturally, being dumb college kids, we decided to check it out. The driver's door was unlocked, so we pulled it open. Inside was a mess of rotting fabric, mud, and leaves. But on the dashboard, I noticed something strange, a moldy leather wallet. I picked it up, and inside was a driver's license. The photo was barely visible, but the name and date of birth were clear. The guy would have been about 23 when the ID was made. But here's the creepy part. When I looked closer, I saw deep scratches on the inside of the car door. Long, desperate claw marks dug into the metal like someone had tried to force their way out. Suddenly, Sam shouted. He had opened the trunk. Inside, there was a ripped, stained blanket and an old rope still tied in a loop. The mood shifted instantly. We dropped everything and left, fast. Later that night, we looked up the name from the license online. It turned out the man had gone missing in the 1980s. His case was never solved. And now, every time I hike in the woods, I wonder, how many other cars like that are still hidden, filled with secrets that never made the news?
The voice in the baby monitor. When my sister had her first baby, she gave me the job of babysitting one evening while she and her husband went out for dinner. It was a calm night, and the baby was asleep upstairs in his crib. She had one of those audio baby monitors that let me hear any sounds from the room. I was sitting on the couch scrolling through my phone when suddenly the monitor crackled. Then I heard a voice. At first I thought it was static, but then I realized it was clear, too clear, a man's voice. He said, "Don't cry, I'm right here." I froze. The baby hadn't made a sound, yet this stranger's voice came through like he was in the room with them. I rushed upstairs and burst into the nursery. The baby was still asleep, unharmed. The room was empty. I checked the window, locked. Closet, empty. Confused and scared, I went back downstairs, staring at the monitor. A few minutes later, the voice came again, whispering, "He's mine now." That was enough. I grabbed the baby, called my sister, and refused to put him back in that room. When they came home, her husband did some research and found out that some old analog monitors can accidentally pick up nearby radio frequencies, even cordless phones. But here's the thing. They lived in a rural area. The closest neighbor was half a mile away. So who was that voice, and how did it know there was a baby in the crib?
Final thoughts. These 3 stories still chill me whenever I think about them. Whether it's the pale man at the window, the abandoned car in the woods, or the mysterious voice through the baby monitor, each serves as a reminder that true horror doesn't always come from monsters or ghosts. Sometimes the scariest thing is the unknown, when you realize something is watching you, something happened long before you arrived, or someone is closer than you think.